The next income, which is chargeable under the head Profits and Gains of Business and Profession, is the export incentives. Now you must be wondering, what are these export incentives all about? Now every government in the entire world wants to earn foreign exchange. You must have studied in economics, that there is something called balance of trade. So what you export and what you import, you have some income and you have some expenses. But many a time for a country like India, where you have to export, you know, certain amount of goods so that you can get the necessary money to buy the technology, which is so very important for development, is crucial. And in order to meet that end, Indian government came up with this export incentive stuff. So incentive is given to those people, those businessmen who do certain exports. Okay. And what happens there is that in those cases, these export incentives are given. So when these export incentives are utilized by the people, then the government also taxes them on these incentives. Not all the incentives are taxed, but some of them which are chargeable to tax are as under. So export incentives including, again, as I said, this means that the definition says that all these are included. There may be others which are also taxable. So profit on sale of import licenses granted under Imports Control Order on account of exports. Now what happens here is that, in order to undertake certain kinds of imports, you have to pay custom duty. So what happens is that the government, in order to promote, especially in a case, let's say we have someone called A. He wants to export some machinery. But this machinery can be made only when, say, suppose there is a spare part which has to come from abroad. But this spare part is very expensive. So the government normally gives this guy an import license saying that, okay, you can import this good and we will not charge you any custom duty on this. You put this into the machinery and generate exports out of it. So when this guy sells this license, now this license is transferable. So if this guy sells any license, now suppose he got this license for 2,000 and he sells it for 5,000. Then the profit of 3,000 that he earns on sale of this license is chargeable to tax under the head Profits and Gains of Business and Profession. Second point, cash assistance received or receivable against exports. Again, what may happen is, suppose X sells, let's say, a television set to Africa. Now the sale of television set is, say, for 5,000. The government says that for every television set that you sell out, we will give you 500 rupees from our side. Why? Because when you are selling it at 5,000, maybe this guy is not earning that much of profit. But the government wants that this should go there. Why? Because this will get them foreign exchange for this 5,000. In such a case, this 500 rupees received by X is taxable under the head Profits and Gains of Business and Profession. Third, duty drawback of custom and excise. So what happens in these cases is that if any manufacturer pays any duty of custom and excise, and again the same example that I took, suppose he pays any duty of custom and excise for importing a product, let's say for importing a raw material. And then he uses this raw material to manufacture something, let's say machinery in the example I told you, which is exported. What the government says is that when you import the raw material, you pay this duty of custom and excise. However, once you export this machinery, you can claim a drawback, or drawback means a refund of the custom and excise that you have paid. So when this guy would have paid this raw material, he would have charged it to the debit of his P&L account. Suppose this was his P&L account, he would charge custom duty 100 rupees. And he would have claimed a expense for this. The year when you get this drawback, when you are entitled to get this drawback, then whatever drawback you get, if you get 100, 80, 70, whatever you get is chargeable under the head profits and gains of business and profession. And the last two are again very simple. Profit on transfer of duty entitlement passbook. Just like this import license, you are also entitled to this duty entitlement passbook. If you sell it, the profit thereof is chargeable under the head PGBP. Similarly, profit on transfer of duty-free replenishment certificate. So these were some of the export incentives which an individual or a businessman would be entitled to. As and when he gets it, these gets credited to the profit and loss account, or even if it is not credited, the profits, or for that matter the sum received by him on these accounts are chargeable to tax under the head profits and gains of business and profession.